Andrea del Sarto, called The Faultless Painter, by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Kerry Ford. But do not let us quarrel any more. No, my Lucrezia, bear with me for once. Sit down, and all shall happen as you wish. You turn your face, but does it bring your heart? I'll work then for your friend's friend, never fear. Treat his own subject after his own way. Fix his own time, accept too his own price, and shut the money into this small hand, when next it takes mine. Will it, tenderly? Oh, I'll content him, but tomorrow, love. I often am much wearier than you think, this evening more than usual, and it seems as if, forgive now, should you let me sit here by the window with your hand in mine, and look a half hour forth on Fiesole, both of one mind, as married people use, quietly, quietly, the evening through. I might get up tomorrow to my work, cheerful and fresh as ever. Let us try. Tomorrow. How you should be glad for this. Your soft hand is a woman of itself, and mine the man's bared breast she curls inside. Don't count the time lost neither. You must serve for each of the 5 pictures we require. It saves a model. So, keep looking so, my serpentining beauty. Rounds on rounds. How could you ever prick those perfect ears, even to put the pearl there? Oh, so sweet! My face, my moon, my everybody's moon, which everybody looks on and calls his, and I suppose is looked on by in turn, while she looks no one's, very dear, no less. Your smile, why, there's my picture ready made. There's what we painters call our harmony. A common greyness silvers everything, all in a twilight, you and I alike. You at the point of your first pride in me, that's gone, you know, but I at every point, my youth, my hope, my art, being all toned down to yonder sober, pleasant Fiesole. There's the bell clinking from the chapel top. That length of convent wall across the way holds the trees safer, huddled more inside. The last monk leaves the garden, days decrease, and autumn grows, autumn in everything. Eh? The whole seems to fall into a shape, as if I saw alike my work and self, and all that I was born to be and do, a twilight piece, love. We are in God's hand. How strange now looks the life he makes us lead. So free we seem, so fettered fast we are. I feel he laid the fetter, let it lie. This chamber, for example, turn your head. All that's behind us. You don't understand, nor care to understand about my art, but you can hear at least when people speak. And that cartoon, the second from the door, it is the thing, love. So such things should be. Behold, Madonna, I am bold to say. I can do with my pencil what I know, what I see, what at bottom of my heart I wish for, if I ever wish so deep, do easily too, when I say perfectly. I do not boast, perhaps yourself are judge, who listened to the legate's talk last week, and just as much they used to say in France. At any rate, 'tis easy, all of it. No sketch first, no studies, that's long past. I do what many dream of all their lives. Dream? Strive to do, and agonize to do, and fail in doing. I could count 20 such on twice your fingers, and not leave this town, who strive. You don't know how the others strive to paint a little thing like that you smeared, carelessly passing with your robes afloat. Yet do much less, so much less, someone says. I know his name, no matter, so much less. Well, less is more, Lucrezia. I am judged. There burns a truer light of God in them. In their vexed beating, stuffed and stopped up brain, heart, or whate'er else, then goes on to prompt this low-pulsed, forthright craftsman's hand of mine. Their works drop groundward, but themselves, I know, reach many a time a heaven that's shut to me, enter and take their place there sure enough, though they come back and cannot tell the world my works are nearer heaven. But I sit here, the sudden blood of these men, at a word, praise them it boils, or blame them it boils too. I, painting from myself and to myself, know what I do, am unmoved by men's blame or their praise either. Somebody's remarks, Morello's outline there is wrongly traced, his hue mistaken, what of that? Or else, rightly traced and well ordered, what of that? Speak as they please, what does the mountain care? Ah, but a man's reach should exceed his grasp. Or what's a heaven for? All is silver grey, placid and perfect with my art, the worse. I know both what I want and what might gain, and yet how profitless to know, to sigh. Had I been two, another and myself, our head would have o'erlooked the world, no doubt. Yonder's a work now of that famous youth, the urbanite, who died 5 years ago. 'Tis copied, George Vasari sent it me. Well, I can fancy how he did it all, pouring his soul with kings and popes to see, reaching that heaven might so replenish him above and through his art, for it gives way, that arm is wrongly put, and there again a fault to pardon in the drawing's lines. Its body, so to speak, its soul is right. He means right, that a child may understand. Still, what an arm, and I could alter it. But all the play, the insight and the stretch, out of me, and wherefore out? Had you enjoined them on me, given me soul, we might have risen to Raphael, I and you. Nay, love, you did give all I asked, I think. More than I merit, yes, by many times. But had you, oh, with the same perfect brow, and perfect eyes, and more than perfect mouth, and the low voice my soul hears as a bird, the fowler's pipe, and follows to the snare, had you with these the same, but brought a mind, some woman do so, had the mouth there urged, God and glory never care for gain. The present by the future, what is that? Live for fame side by side with Agnolo. Raphael is waiting up to God, all three. I might have done it for you, so it seems. Perhaps not. All is as God overrules. Besides, incentives come from the soul's self. The rest avail not. Why do I need you? What wife had Raphael, or has Agnolo, in this world? Who can do a thing, will not, and who would do it, cannot, I perceive. Yet the will's somewhat too the power, and thus we half men struggle. At the end, God, I conclude, compensates, punishes. 'Tis safer for me, if the award be strict, that I am something underrated here. Poor this long while, despised, to speak the truth. I dared not, do you know, leave home all day, for fear of chancing on the Paris lords. The best is when they pass and look aside. But they speak sometimes, I must bear it all. Well may they speak, that Francis, that first time, and that long festal year at Fontainebleau. I surely then could sometimes leave the ground, put on the glory Raphael's daily wear, in the humane great monarch's golden look, one finger in his beard, a twisted curl over his mouth's good mark that made the smile, one arm about my shoulder, round my neck, the jingle of his gold chain in my ear. I painted proudly with his breath on me, all his court round him seeing with his eyes. Such frank French eyes, and such a fire of souls profuse, my hand kept plying by those hearts, and best of all, this face beyond, this in the background, waiting on my work, to crown the issue with a last reward. A good tune, was it not, my kingly days? And had you not grown restless? But I know 'tis done and past. 'Twas right, my instinct said, to live the life grew, golden and not grey. And I'm the weak-eyed bat no sun should tempt, out of the grange whose four walls make this world. How could it end in any other way? You called me, and I came home to your heart. The triumph was to reach and stay there, since I reached it ere the triumph. What is lost? Let my hands frame your face in your hair's gold. You beautiful Lucrezia that are mine. Raphael did this, Andrea painted that. The Roman's is the better when you pray. But still the other's virgin was his wife. Men will excuse me. I am glad to judge both pictures in your presence clearer grows. My better fortune I resolve to think, for, do you know, Lucrezia, as God lives, send one day Agnolo his very self to Raphael. I have known it all these years, when the young man was flaming out his thoughts upon a palace wall for Rome to see, too lifted up in heart because of it. Friend, there is a certain sorry little scrub, goes up and down our Florence, none cares how, who, were he set to plan and execute, as you are, pricked on by your popes and kings, would bring the sweat into that brow of yours to Raphael's. And indeed the arm is wrong. I hardly dare, yet only you to see. Give the chalk here. Quick, thus the line should go. Ay, but the soul, he's Raphael. Rub it out. Still, all I care for, if he spoke the truth. What, he? Why, who but Michael Agnolo? Do you forget already words like those? If really there was such a chance so lost, is whether you're not grateful, but more pleased. Well, let me think so. And you smile indeed. This hour has been an hour. Another smile? If you would sit thus by me every night, I would work better. Do you comprehend? I mean that I should earn more, give you more. See, it is settled dusk now. There's a star. Morello's gone. The watch lights show the wall. The QLs speak the name we call them by. Come from the window, love. Come in at last. Inside the melancholy little house we built to be so gay with. God is just. King Francis may forgive me. Oft at nights when I look up from the painting, eyes tired out, the walls become illumined brick from brick, distinct, instead of mortar, fierce bright gold. That gold of his I did cement them with. Let us but love each other. Must you go? That cousin here again, he waits outside, must see you, you and not with me. Those loans, more gaming debts to pay, you smiled for that. Well, let smiles buy me. Have you more to spend, while hand and eye and somewhat of a heart are left me? Work's my wear, and what's it worth? I'll pay my fancy, only let me sit the grey remainder of the evening out, idle, you call it, and muse perfectly. How I could paint, were I but back in France. One picture, just one more, the Virgin's face, not yours this time. I want you at my side to hear them, that is, Michael Agnolo. Judge all I do, and tell you of its worth. Will you? Tomorrow satisfy your friend. I take the subjects for his corridor. Finish the portrait out of hand there, and throw him in another thing or two, if he demurs. The whole should prove enough to pay for this same cousin's freak beside. What's better, and what's all I care about? Get you the 13 scudi for the ruff. Love, does that please you? Ah, but what does he, the cousin? What does he to please you more? I am grown peaceful as old age tonight. I regret little. I would change still less. Since there my past life lies, why alter it? The very wrong to Francis. It is true, I took his coin, was tempted and complied, and built this house and sinned, and all is said. My father and my mother died of want. Well, had I riches of my own? You see how one gets rich. Let each one bear his lot. They were born poor, lived poor, and poor they died. And I have laboured somewhat in my time, and not been paid profusely. Some good son paint my 200 pictures. Let him try. No doubt there's something strikes a balance. Yes, you love me quite enough, it seems, tonight. This must suffice me here. What would one have? In heaven, perhaps, new chances? One more chance? 4 great walls in New Jerusalem, meted on each side by the angels' reed, for Leonard, Raphael, Agnolo, and me, to cover the 3 first without a wife, while I have mine. So still they overcome, because there's still Lucrezia as I choose. Again the cousin's whistle. Go, my love. End of Andrea del Sarto. This recording is in the public domain.
Apparitions. Prologue to the Two Poets of Croasic by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Nancy Beard. March 2nd, 2012, Kingston, New York. Such a starved bank of moss, till that May morn, blue ran the flash across, violets were born. Sky, what a scowl of cloud, till near and far, ray on ray split the shroud, splendid, a star. World, how it walled about, life with disgrace, till God's own smile came out. That was thy face. End of Apparitions. This recording is in the public domain.
Caliban upon Setebos, or Natural Theology in the Island, by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Elizabeth Klett. Thou thought'st that I was altogether such an one as thyself. Will sprawl, now that the heat of day is best, flat on his belly in the pit's much mire, with elbows wide, fists clenched to prop his chin. And, while he kicks both feet in the cool slush, and feels about his spine small eft things course, run in and out each arm and make him laugh, and while above his head a pompion plant, coating the cave-top as a brow its eye, creeps down to touch and tickle hair and beard, and now a flower drops with a bee inside, and now a fruit to snap at, catch, and crunch. He looks out o'er yon sea, which sunbeams cross and recross till they weave a spider-web, meshes of fire, some great fish breaks at times, and talks to his own self, howe'er he please, touching that other, whom his dam called God. Because to talk about him vexes. Ha! could he but know, and time to vex is now, when talk is safer than in winter-time. Moreover, Prosper and Miranda sleep in confidence he drudges at their task, and it is good to cheat the pair, and gibe, letting the rank tongue blossom into speech. Setebos, Setebos, and Setebos! Thinketh he dwelleth the cold o' the moon, thinketh he made it with the sun to match. But not the stars came otherwise. Only made clouds, winds, meteors, such as that. Also this isle, what lives and grows thereon, and snaky sea which rounds and ends the same. Thinketh it came of being ill at ease. He hated that he cannot change his cold, nor cure its ache, hath spied an icy fish that longed to scape the rock-stream where she lived, and thaw herself within the lukewarm brine o' the lazy sea her stream thrusts far amid, a crystal spike twixt 2 warm walls of wave. Only she ever sickened, found repulse at the other kind of water, not her life, green dense and dim delicious, bred o' the sun, flounced back from bliss she was not born to breathe, and in her old bounds buried her despair, hating and loving warmth alike. So he. thinketh, he made thereat the sun, this isle, trees, and the fowls here, beast and creeping thing. Yon otter, sleek wet, black, lithe as a leech. Yon auk, one fire eye in a ball of foam, that floats and feeds. A certain badger brown he hath watched hunt with that slant white wedge eye by moonlight. And the pie with the long tongue that pricks deep into oakworts for a worm, and says a plain word when she finds her prize, but will not eat the ants. The ants themselves, that build a wall of seeds and settled stalks about their hole, he made all these and more, made all we see, and us, in spite, how else? He could not himself make a second self to be his mate, as well have made himself. He would not make what he mislikes or slights, an eyesore to him, or not worth his pains; but did, in envy, listlessness, or sport, make what himself would fain in a manner be, weaker in most points, stronger in a few, worthy, and yet mere playthings all the while, things he admires and mocks too: that is it. Because, so brave, so better though they be, it nothing skills if he begin to plague. Look now, I melt a gourd fruit into mash, and honeycomb and pods I have perceived, which bite like finches when they bill and kiss. Then, when froth rises bladdery, drink up all, quick, quick, till maggots scamper through my brain. Last, throw me on my back at the seeded time, and wanton, wishing I were born a bird. Put case, unable to be what I wish, I yet could make a live bird out of clay. Would not I take clay, pinch my Caliban able to fly? For there, see, he hath wings, and great comb like the hoopoe's to admire, and there a sting to do his foes offence, there, and I will that he begin to live, fly to yon rock top, nip me off the horns of grigs high up that make the merry din, saucy through their veined wings, and mind me not. In which feat, if his legs snapped brittle clay, and he lay stupid like, why I should laugh. And if he, spying me, should fall to weep, beseech me to be good, repair his wrong, bid his poor legs smart less or grow again, well, as the chance were, this might take or else not take my fancy. I might hear his cry, and give the mannikin 3 sound legs for one, or pluck the other off, leave him like an egg, and lessoned he was mine and merely clay. Were this no pleasure, lying in the thyme, drinking the mash, with brain become alive, making and marring clay at will? So he thinketh, such shows nor right nor wrong in him, nor kind nor cruel. He is strong and lord. Am strong myself compared to yonder crabs that march now from the mountain to the sea. Let 20 pass, and stone the 21st, loving not, hating not, just choosing so. Say the first straggler that boasts purple spots shall join the file, one pincer twisted off. Say, this bruised fellow shall receive a worm, and 2 worms he whose nippers end in red, as it likes me each time I do. So he. Well then, supposeth he is good i' the main, placable if his mind and ways were guessed, but rougher than his handiwork, be sure. O, he hath made things worthier than himself, and envieth that, so helped, such things do more than he who made them. What consoles but this? That they, unless through him, do naught at all, and must submit. What other use in things? Hath cut a pipe of pithless elder joint, that blown through gives exact the scream o' the jay, when from her wing you twitch the feathers blue. Sound this, And little birds that hate the jay flock within stone's throw, glad their foe is hurt. Put case such pipe could prattle and boast forsooth, I catch the birds, I am the crafty thing, I make the cry my Maker cannot make With his great round mouth, he must blow through mine. Would not I smash it with my foot? So he. But wherefore rough? Why cold and ill at ease? Aha! that is a question. Ask for that what knows the something over Setebos that made him, or he, may be, fought and fought, worsted, drove off, and did to nothing perchance. There may be something quite over his head, out of his reach, that feels nor joy nor grief, since both derive from weakness in some way. I joy because the quails come, would not joy could I bring quails here when I have a mind. This quiet, all it hath a mind to, doth. Esteemeth stars the outposts of its couch, but never spends much thought nor care that way. It may look up, work up, the worse for those it works on. Careth but for Setebos the many-handed as a cuttlefish, who, making himself feared through what he does, looks up first and perceives he cannot soar to what is quiet and hath happy life. Next looks down here, and out of very spite makes this a bauble world to ape yon real, these good things to match those as hips do grapes. 'Tis solace making baubles, ay, and sport. Himself peeped late, eyed prosper at his books, careless and lofty, lord now of the isle. Vexed, stitched a book of broad leaves, arrow-shaped, wrote thereon, he knows what, prodigious words, has peeled a wand and called it by a name, weareth a whiles for an enchanter's robe the eyed skin of a supple oncelot, and hath an ounce sleeker than youngling mole a four-legged serpent he makes cower and couch, now snarl, now hold its breath and mind his eye, and saith she is Miranda and my wife. Keeps for his Ariel a tall pouch-bill crane he bids go wade for fish and straight disgorge, also a sea-beast, lumpish, which he snared, blinded the eyes of, and brought somewhat tame, and split its tow-webs, and now pens the drudge in a hole o' the rock, and calls him Caliban. A bitter heart that bides its time and bites, plays thus at being prosper in a way, taketh his mirth with make-believes. So he. His dam held that the quiet made all things which Setebos vexed only, holds not so, who made them weak meant weakness he might vex. Had he meant other while his hand was in, why not make horny eyes no thorn could prick, or plate my scalp with bone against the snow, or overscale my flesh neath joint and joint like an orc's armour? Ay, so spoil his sport. He is the one now, only he doth all. Saith he may like, perchance, what profits him. Ay, himself loves what does him good, but why? Gets no good otherwise. This blinded beast loves whoso places flesh-meat on his nose, but had he eyes, would want no help, but hate or love just as it liked him. He hath eyes. Also it pleaseth Setebos to work, use all his hands, and exercise much craft. By no means for the love of what is worked. Tasteth himself no finer good i' the world, when all goes right in this safe summer-time, and he wants little, hungers, aches not much, then trying what to do with wit and strength. Falls to make something, piled yon pile of turfs, and squared and stuck there squares of soft white chalk, and with a fish-tooth scratched a moon on each, and set up endwise certain spikes of tree, and crowned the whole with a sloth's skull atop, found dead in the woods, too hard for one to kill. No use at all i' the work, for work's sole sake, shall some day knock it down again. So he. Say if he is terrible, watch his feats in proof. One hurricane will spoil 6 good months' hope. He hath a spite against me, that I know, just as he favours prosper, who knows why? So it is all the same, as well I find. Wove wattles half the winter, fenced them firm with stone and stake to stop she-tortoises crawling to lay their eggs here. Well, one wave, feeling the foot of him upon its neck, gaped as a snake does, lolled out its large tongue, and licked the whole labour flat. So much for spite. Saw a ball flame down late, yonder it lies, where half an hour before I slept i' the shade. Often they scatter sparkles, there is force. Dug up a newt he may have envied once, and turned to stone, shut up inside a stone. Please him, and hinder this, what Prosper does? Aha, if he would tell me how! Not he. There is the sport, discover how or die. All need not die, for of the things o' the isle some flee afar, some dive, some run up trees, those at his mercy, why they please him most when, well, never try the same way twice. Repeat what act has pleased. He may grow wroth. You must not know his ways and play him off, sure of the issue. Doth the like himself, spareth a squirrel that it nothing fears, but steals the nut from underneath my thumb, and when I threat, bites stoutly in defence. Spareth an urchin that contrariwise curls up into a ball, pretending death for fright at my approach. The 2 ways please. But what would move my choler more than this, that either creature counted on its life to-morrow and next day, and all days to come, saying, forsooth, in the inmost of its heart, because he did so yesterday with me, and otherwise with such another brute, so must he do henceforth and always. I would teach the reasoning couple what must means? Doth as he likes, or wherefore lord? So he. Conceiveth all things will continue thus, and we shall have to live in fear of him so long as he lives, keeps his strength. No change, if he have done his best, make no new world to please him more, so leave off watching this. If he surprise not even the quiet's self some strange day, or suppose grow into it as grubs grow butterflies, else here are we, and there is he, and nowhere help at all. Believeth with the life the pain shall stop. His dam held different, that after death he both plagued enemies and feasted friends. Idly. He doth his worst in this our life, giving just respite lest we die through pain, saving last pain for worst, with which an end. Meanwhile the best way to 'scape his ire is not to seem too happy. Sees himself yonder 2 flies with purple films and pink bask on the Pompeian bell above. Kills both. Sees 2 black painful beetles roll their ball on head and tail as if to save their lives. Moves them the stick away they strive to clear. Even so, would have him misconceive. Suppose this Caliban strives hard and ails no less, and always above all else envies him. Wherefore he mainly dances on dark nights, moans in the sun, gets under holes to laugh, and never speaks his mind save housed as now. Outside, groans, curses. If he caught me here, o'erheard this speech, and asked, "What chucklest at?" would, to appease him, cut a finger off, or of my 3 kid yearlings burn the best, or let the toothsome apples rot on tree, or push my tame beast for the orc to taste, while myself lit a fire, and made a song and sung it. What I hate, be consecrate, to celebrate thee and thy state, no mate for thee, what see for envy in poor me. Hoping the while, since evils sometimes mend, warts rub away and sores are cured with slime, that some strange day will either the quiet catch and conquer Setebos, or likelier he decrepit may doze, doze, as good as die. What? What? A curtain o'er the world at once? Crickets stop hissing, not a bird, or yes, there scuds his raven that has told him all. It was fool's play, this prattling. Ha! The wind shoulders the pillared dust, death's house o' the move, and fast invading fires begin. White blaze, a tree's head snaps, and there, his thunder follows, fool to gibe at him. Lo, lieth flat and loveth Setebos, maketh his teeth meet through his upper lip, will let those quails fly, will not eat this month one little mess of whelks, so he may scape. End of Caliban upon Setebos. This recording is in the public domain.
Cavalier Tunes by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Noel Badrian, County Offaly, Ireland. Cavalier Tunes. 1. Marching Along. Kentish Sir Byng stood for his king, bidding the crop-headed Parliament swing, and pressing a troop, unable to stoop, and see the rogues nourish, and honest folks droop, marched them along 50 strong, great-hearted gentlemen singing this song. God for King Charles, Pym and such carles, to the devil that prompts 'em their treasonous parles, cavaliers up, lips from the cup, hands from the pasty, nor bite take nor sup, till you're marching along 50 strong, great-hearted gentlemen singing this song. Hampden to hell, and his obsequies knell, serve Hazelrig fines and young Harry as well. England good cheer, Rupert is near, Kentish and Loyalists keep we not here. Marching along 50 strong, great-hearted gentlemen singing this song. Then God for King Charles, Pym and his snarls, to the devil that pricks on such pestilent carles, hold by the right, you double your might, so onward to Nottingham fresh for the fight. March we along 50 strong, great-hearted gentlemen singing this song. 2. Give a rouse. King Charles, and who'll do him right now? King Charles, and who's ripe for fight now? Give a rouse, here's in hell's despite now. King Charles. Who gave me the goods that went since? Who raised me the house that sank once? Who helped me to gold I spent since? Who found me in wine you drank once? King Charles, and who'll do him right now? King Charles, and who's ripe for fight now? Give a rouse, here's in hell's despite now. King Charles. To whom used my boy George quaff else, by the old full side that begot him? For whom did he cheer and laugh else, while Noel's damned troopers shot him? King Charles, and who'll do him right now? King Charles, and who's ripe for fight now? Give a rouse, here's in hell's despite now. King Charles. 3. Boot and saddle. Boot, saddle, to horse and away, rescue my castle before the hot day brightens to blue from its silvery grey. Boot, saddle, to horse and away, ride past the suburbs asleep as you'd say, many's the friend there will listen and pray, God's luck to gallants that strike up the lay. Boot, saddle, to horse and away. 40 miles off, like a roebuck at bay, flouts Castle Bransepeth the Roundheads' array, who laughs good fellows ere this by my fay. Boot, saddle, to horse and away. Who, my wife Gertrude, that honest and gay, laughs when you talk of surrendering, nay. I've better counsellors, what counsel they? Boots, saddle, to horse and away. End of Cavalier Tunes. This recording is in the public domain.
Childe Roland to the Dark Tower came, by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Algie Pug. Perth, Western Australia. 1. My first thought was, he lied in every word, that hoary cripple, with malicious eye askance to watch the working of his lie on mine, and mouth scarce able to afford suppression of the glee that pursed and scored its edge at one more victim gained thereby. 2. What else should he be set for with his staff? What, save to waylay with his lies, ensnare all travellers who might find him posted there and ask the road? I guessed what skull-like laugh would break, what crutch 'gin write my epitaph for pastime in the dusty thoroughfare. 3. If at his counsel I should turn aside into that ominous tract which, all agree, hides the Dark Tower, yet acquiescingly I did turn as he pointed, neither pride nor hope rekindling at the end descried so much as gladness that some end might be. 4. What with my whole world-wide wandering, what with my search drawn out through years, my hope dwindled into a ghost not fit to cope with that obstreperous joy success would bring, I hardly tried now to rebuke the spring my heart made, finding failure in its scope. 5. As when a sick man very near to death seems dead indeed, and feels, begin and end, the tears and takes the farewell of each friend, and hears one bid the other go, draw breath freelier outside, since all is o'er, he saith, and the blow fallen no grieving can amend. 6. While some discuss if near the other graves be room enough for this, and when a day suits best for carrying the corpse away, with care about the banners, scarves, and staves, and still the man hears all, and only craves he may not shame such tender love and stay. 7. Thus I had so long suffered in this quest, heard failure prophesied so oft, been writ so many times among the band, to wit, the knights who to the Dark Tower's search addressed their steps, that just to fail as they seemed best, and all the doubt was now, should I be fit? 7. So, quiet as despair, I turned from him, that hateful cripple, out of his highway into the path he pointed. All the day had been a dreary one at best, and dim was settling to its close, yet shot one grim red leer to see the plain catch its estray. 9. For mark, no sooner was I fairly found, pledged to the plain, after a pace or two, than, pausing to throw backward a last view o'er the safe road, 'twas gone. Grey plain all round, nothing but plain to the horizon's bound. I might go on, nought else remained to do. 10. So on I went. I think I never saw such starved ignoble nature. Nothing throve. For flowers, as well expect a cedar grove. But cockle, spurge, according to their law, might propagate their kind, with none to awe. You'd think a burr had been a treasure trove. 11. No. Penury, inertness, and grimace, in some strange sort, were the land's portion. See, or shut your eyes, said Nature peevishly, it nothing skills, I cannot help my case. 'Tis the last judgment's fire must cure this place, calcine its clods, and set my prisoners free. 12. If there pushed any ragged thistle stalk above its mates, the head was chopped. The bents were jealous else. What made those holes and rents in the dock's harsh swathed leaves, bruised as to balk all hope of greenness? 'Tis a brute must walk, pashing their life out with a brute's intents. 13. as for the grass, it grew as scant as hair in leprosy. Thin dry blades pricked the mud, which underneath looked kneaded up with blood. One stiff blind horse, his every bone a stare, stood stupefied, however he came near, thrust out past service from the devil's stud. 14. Alive? He might be dead for aught I know, with that red gaunt and colloped neck astrain, and shut eyes underneath the rusty mane. Seldom went such grotesqueness with such woe. I never saw a brute I hated so. He must be wicked to deserve such pain. 15. I shut my eyes and turned them on my heart. As a man calls for wine before he fights, I asked one draught of earlier, happier sights, ere fitly I could hope to play my part. Think first, fight afterwards, the soldier's art. One taste of the old time sets all to rights. 16. Not it. I fancied Cuthbert's reddening face beneath its garniture of curly gold. Dear fellow, till I almost felt him fold an arm in mine to fix me to the place that way he used. Alas, one night's disgrace! Out went my heart's new fire, and left it cold. 17. Giles, then, the soul of honour, there he stands, frank as 10 years ago when knighted first. What honest man should dare, he said, he durst. Good. But the scene shifts. Faugh! What hangman hands pin to his breast a parchment? His own bands read it. Poor traitor, spit upon and cursed. 18. Better this present than a past like that. Back therefore to my darkening path again. No sound, no sight, as far as eye could strain. Will the night send a howlet or a bat? I asked, when something on the dismal flat came to arrest my thoughts and change their train. 19. A sudden little river crossed my path as unexpected as the serpent comes. No sluggish tide congenial to the glooms. This, as it frothed by, might have been a bath for the fiend's glowing hoof, to see the wrath of its black eddy bespate with flakes and spumes. 20. So petty, yet so spiteful. All along, low scrubby alders kneeled down over it, drenched willows flung them headlong in a fit of mute despair, a suicidal throng. The river, which had done them all the wrong, whate'er that was, rolled by, deterred no whit. 21. Which, while I forded, good saints, how I feared to set my foot upon a dead man's cheek, each step, or feel the spear I thrust to seek for hollows tangled in his hair or beard. It may have been a water rat I speared, but ugh! It sounded like a baby's shriek. 22. Glad was I when I reached the other bank. Now for a better country. Vain presage! Who were the strugglers? What war did they wage? Whose savage trample thus could pad the dank soil to a plash? Toads in a poisoned tank, or wild cats in a red-hot cage. 23. The fight must so have seemed in that fell cirque. What penned them there, with all the plain to choose? No footprint leading to that horrid mews, none out of it. Mad brewage set to work their brains, no doubt. Like galley slaves the Turk pits for his pastime Christians against Jews. 24. And more than that, a furlong on, why, there! What bad use was that engine for, that wheel, or brake, not wheel, that harrow fit to reel men's bodies out like silk, with all the air of Tophet's tool, on earth left unaware or brought to sharpen its rusty teeth of steel. 25. Then came a bit of stubbed ground, once a wood, next a marsh, it would seem, and now mere earth, desperate and done with. So a fool finds mirth, makes a thing and then mars it, till his mood changes, and off he goes, within a rude, bog clay and rubble, sand and stark black dearth. 26. Now blotches rankling, coloured gay and grim, now patches where some leanness of the soils broke into moss or substances like boils. Then came some palsied oak, a cleft in him like a distorted mouth that splits its rim gaping at death and dies while it recoils. 27. And just as far as ever from the end, naught in the distance but the evening, naught to point my footstep further. At the thought a great black bird, Apollyon's bosom friend, sailed past, nor beat his wide winged dragon pen that brushed my cap, perchance the guide I sought. 28. For looking up, aware I somehow grew, spite of the dusk, the plain had given place all round to mountains, with such name to grace, mere ugly heights and heaps now stolen in view. How thus they had surprised me. Solve it, you. How to get from them was no clearer case. 29. Yet half I seemed to recognize some trick of mischief happened to me, God knows when, in a bad dream perhaps. Here ended then progress this way, when in the very nick of giving up, one time more, came a click as when a trap shuts. You're inside the den. 30. Burningly it came on me all at once. This was the place. Those two hills on the right crouched like two bulls locked horn in fight, while to the left a tall scalped mountain. Dunce! Dotard! A dozing at the very nonce after a life spent training for the sight. 31. What in the midst lay but the tower itself? The round squat turret, blind as the fool's heart, built of brown stone, without a counterpart in the whole world. The tempest's mocking elf points to the shipman thus the unseen shelf he strikes on, only when the timbers start. 32. Not see? Because of night, perhaps. Why, day came back again for that. Before it left, the dying sunset kindled through a cleft. The hills, like giants at a hunting, lay chin upon hand to see the game at bay. Now stab and end the creature. To the heft. 33. Not here, when noise was everywhere. It tolled, increasing like a bell. Names in my ears of all the lost adventurers, my peers. How such a one was strong, and such was bold, and such was fortunate. Yet each of old lost, lost! One moment knelled the woe of years. 34. There they stood, ranged along the hillsides, met to view the last of me, a living frame for one more picture. In a sheet of flame I saw them, and I knew them all. And yet dauntless the slug-horn to my lips I set, and blew. Childe Roland to the dark tower came. End of Childe Roland to the Dark Tower Came by Robert Browning. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain.